Jalen Haralson in the 2025 class should absolutely be the top target for Mike Woodson and the Indiana Hoosiers.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into this, the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Well, you start looking at the 2025 high school recruiting class across, high school basketball coming into college basketball. And man, let me start out by saying this. I think it's going to be one of the most talented classes we've ever seen in high school basketball. The names that are out there, the talent that is there, it is really unbelievable. We had an episode yesterday here on Locked On Hoosiers and really talked about all of these big name players that the Indiana Hoosiers could be going after. And there's dozens of names that are going to change programs forever, that are going to turn programs around, that are going to elevate programs that are right there on the rim. And then the programs that are already fantastic are going to make them even better. There's just so many guys out there that Mike Woodson and the Hoosiers have to focus on and go after. You can't get them all. You can only land so many. And so now you have to figure out, okay, which ones do we really want to go after? Which ones do we have to have in our minds that we think are just crucial to be future Hoosiers? I think Jalen Haralson is absolutely your go-to guy right now. And given everything I've heard from this past weekend about his performance and these massive events, you've got to make him a priority because guess what? All the big name programs are. Jalen Haralson's a kid, a 5-star recruit in 2025. He's been to Indiana multiple times and wants to continue to come back. And like we mentioned yesterday, he's one of those guys that the Hoosiers have been on early and often and are going after him extremely hard. Haralson, 6'6", 210 pounds, the small forward from right here in Indiana. Depending on where you look, he's top 10, top 15. I think he's a top 10 player, no doubt about it. Best player in the state. And overall, I think he is a top 10 player. Again, 6'6", 210 pounds. And again, everything I heard from this weekend, including a 30-point performance Saturday night, this guy can ball, and everybody took notice at the event over the weekend. And he's somebody that has not flown under the radar. There's a couple of names that we've talked about and we'll continue to talk about in the future that other people have begun to notice. Braylon Mullins is a big one of those where Indiana was in early, and other people, including UConn, were like, whoa, wait a minute, this guy can actually play. Jalen Haralson's not hiding in the bushes anywhere. Everybody knows who this guy is and knows how impactful he can be. And the things that people have talked about that have seen him in person, I've gotten to see film and videos and talk to some folks, but I have not gotten to see him in person yet. The things they say are his scoring is phenomenal. Again, a 30-point performance Saturday night. Yeah, that'll get it done. Playing against some of the highest level of high school basketball in the country. Yeah, that'll work just fine. His rebounding is fantastic. His defense is fantastic. His passing is unbelievable. That's something that was really highlighted coming out of the weekend as well. The guy's just an overall superstar. And the word that I continue to use when I watch things and hear things about him is his tenacity. Tenacity is what comes to mind because he's just so aggressive each and every play. Whether the ball's in his hands or not, he goes and finds it, and he makes a play, and he always knows what to do next. His basketball IQ is extremely high, and the kid's just a freak of an athlete and somebody that the Hoosiers could absolutely benefit from. A small forward who could come in. He could be a combo. You could make him into a 2 if you had to at times. But, man, a forward coming in who can handle the ball, make plays, can shoot it, and can just get to the rack and also do the fundamental things of play solid defense, rebound the basketball, set up his teammates with flashy passes. This guy's got it all. And the Hoosiers really, really need that. Those have been some of the most successful players here at Indiana, have been those bigger guys that can do those types of things. You're looking at some playing in the NBA right now. That's why Jalen Haralson has to be the top target for Mike Woodson and Indiana. some of the other schools that he's going to visit, including Indiana, Kansas, Duke, Auburn, Gonzaga, Missouri, Michigan State, Notre Dame. I mean, there's just a ton of schools that are involved here. But good thing is he has been here before, and he knows what he's getting into with his in-state school of Indiana. That has to help us in this situation. And look, I don't know what this is going to come down to in terms of what it's going to be. And what I mean by that is whether it be playing time or NIL or just the fit, the coaches, the narrative, whatever the case may be. I don't know. I don't think we know that yet. And in today's world, yeah, you've got to have a bag ready, which I know is just so different than what we have been used to over my entire life and most of your entire lives as well. That's just not what we're used to, but it's becoming more of a normal now. There's no doubt about it. If you want the best, you got to pay the best. And that's just where we are. Now, again, some kids, it's not all about that. They understand that they are worth a lot of money, but some kids are going to go to the school that just pays them the most, and they don't care if the fit is there or not. He could go to Missouri because they paid him $1.5 million. I don't know. Whereas Indiana only offered him $1 million. Oh, sorry, they're paying me more. See you later. I don't know. From what I'm hearing, I don't think that's this type of situation, but money talks sometimes. So I have to figure that out. But I think for a guy like this, who is so good, so talented, and the future is so bright in terms of playing at not just the next level of college, but the next level of professional basketball, a guy that wants to go and play in the NBA, money should not be the biggest issue, because if you do your job and you go and get better somewhere at a good college program, you're going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars playing in the NBA. So the little bit of cash you're going to get now is nothing in comparison to what you're going to get later on if you make it big time, which it's still tough to do. It's not a guarantee that you're going to make it there just because you pick Indiana or Duke or Auburn. Like, that's just not how that works. You all know that. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of things here to get this kid, not just on campus, but to get him to commit and get him to sign. Good news is Indiana's been on him very early. They are going extremely hard after Jalen Haralson, just like everybody else. He's been here a couple of times. They're planning on taking another visit here. This is somebody, man, if you're Mike Woodson and the Hoosiers and you could land 2025 forward Jalen Haralson, then you are really making waves in the recruiting trail, because he's an in-state kid. You have that leg up on everybody in the game. You can use that to your advantage, and I think they are, and I think they will. And Indiana has to make Jalen Haralson 2025 top 10 consensus player no matter where you look. He has to be a top priority for Mike Woodson and the Indiana Hoosiers. Well, coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, going to look at a way too early Big Ten ranking, some power rankings, and where the Hoosiers stand coming out of the crazy transfer portal cycle. Plus, is the Big Ten, now that it has 18 teams in it, is that good or bad for Indiana moving forward? All that coming up next on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. My company has used LinkedIn Jobs numerous times to hire people. It's quick, it's easy, and yeah, you post the job for free. It literally takes less than 5 minutes to get it up there, put your information, and go out and find real quality candidates. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses are using LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your first listen. Truly, each and every day. Shout out to all of my everydayers. You're the reason that we do this. We are past 2,500 subscribers on YouTube, so thank you for those who have become a part of that. If you have not, All you got to do, hit it one time, hit the subscribe button with your thumb. All it is, just one tap. It's free. It's easy. And you become a part of this community over here. So thank you so much for doing that on YouTube. Be sure you like the video, share it with everybody as well. And for all my audio listeners each and every day, thank you so much as well. You can follow us on your audio platform, subscribe there if it's an option, turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Well, there was a Big Ten way too early power rankings released on 247. And again, you have to remind yourself that this is a new look Big Ten. There are 18 teams in here. Somebody said it in the YouTube comments the other day. Indiana's going to try and win the Big 18. That's what it is. It's the Big 18 now, and it's only going to grow from here. Conversation more about that in just a little bit. But with now UCLA, Washington, Oregon, and USC, you have to adjust for all that now. And there are 18 teams here in the conference, and those are big-time programs. UCLA, one of the most historic programs in the entire sport. USC, with a new-look USC. Remember, Eric Musselman, the former Arkansas coach, is now out at USC, part of that whole crazy debacle that went down with Calipari now being at Arkansas. And you still bring in Washington and Oregon, who are solid Pac-12 teams that are coming to play in the Big Ten. So here's where their power rankings stand as of right now. And again, this is from 247 from Isaac Trotter on 24/7 Sports. UCLA ranked at 1. They've got a ridiculous recruiting class coming in and just really good talent for Mike Cronin, who is going to be a superstar there at UCLA. I'm convinced. So UCLA, these are power rankings coming out of the spring for the Big Ten. UCLA 1, and how about this? Indiana at 2. Yes, they have Indiana as the second-ranked power team in the Big Ten right now. At the end of May, going into the season, power rankings-wise, given everything that's happened, they've got the Hoosiers sitting at number 2. And how could you not? This team is completely reloaded. We have dissected everything and reloaded for 24 and 25. You brought back the pieces you needed, right? You bring back Malik Renew, Mackenzie Mbako, Trey Galloway, and you go out and sign the number 1 recruiting class in the transfer portal in this offseason. How could you not put us at the top? And here's what he has for his starting 5. Again, this disagrees with mine. It's a little bit different. He's got Miles Rice at the 1, and he has Trey Galloway at the 2. And, we're going to find out. We're really going to find out if Trey Galloway is the starter or if Cannon Carlisle is the starter. And you know what? I could see a situation here. I could see a situation where Trey Galloway starts early and Cannon Carlisle works into that. And by the time Big 10 play rolls around or Big 18 play rolls around, Cannon Carlisle is your day-to-day starter. I could see that happening. And it would not surprise me one bit. But I do think that Cannon Carlisle eventually down the stretch at whatever point in the season, he will be your go-to shooting guard. That's just how I feel. It's what I believe. And look, somebody's going to be wrong, whether it's this guy, whether it's you, whether it's me. We're going to find out. Neither one are bad options, though. Can we all agree on that? Neither one are bad options. You either start Trey Galloway, the 17-year senior who's been here a long time, knows the game, very confident, takes a little bit of pressure off of him thanks to Miles Rice being his point guard. And then you bring Cannon Carlisle off the bench, who is a superstar, can score at will, and could orchestrate the offense at that point. Or it's vice versa. You have Cannon Carlisle, who's a wonderful shooting guard, can score points when he needs to, playing off of Miles Rice. And then when you need to bring somebody in off the bench, here comes the senior Trey Galloway. You don't have a bad option here. I just think Carlisle starts over Galloway, but we'll have to see. He's got Mackenzie Mbako at the 3, Malik Renew at the 4, and, of course, Umar Ballo at the 5. Here's what they said. The scoop is what they call it. Indiana may very well have the most resources of any team in the Big Ten. It flexed its muscles in the transfer portal, reeling in Miles Rice, Cannon Carlisle, and Umar Ballo to transform the makeup of this roster. It also shored up 2 of its biggest weaknesses. Indiana was a poor rebounding team last year. Ballo will help change that. Indiana's guards were terrible in pick and rolls last year, they were not terrible when they did it. They just didn't do it a whole lot. Rice and Carlisle will help change that. He continues on and says, the talent is clear, but the fit of Renew and Ballo together could be a bit clunky unless Mike Woodson opts to ditch the 2 big lineup. at times. He has the roster flexibility to do it thanks to the addition of freshman sensation Bryson Tucker and Illinois sharpshooter Luke Goody. Interesting. So he's saying possibly start a Luke Goody or even a Bryson Tucker, maybe even move Mackenzie Mbako down to a 4 and have Ballo play on his own and then Renew come off the bench as a smaller 5. Interesting. I don't know. And that's something that I think we could play with in non-conference play. At least try it out. At least see what's going to happen. I don't hate that. I hadn't really thought about that, but I don't hate that. I don't think that's what he'll do. I don't think you have the flexibility to say, all right, Malik Renew, we appreciate you coming back, big dog, but yeah, you're going to come off the bench. Is that cool? Awesome. All right, sweet. Appreciate that. I don't think that's going to happen here, but I don't hate the idea to try it out against those smaller opponents early on in the season just to see if it could work. And then, hey, in that battle for Atlantis, if you're in a game maybe late on Sunday, why not? If it's the non-championship game or whatever, why not try it out? Why not try even just a lineup of, you could do Miles Rice, one of the two shooting guards. I'm trying to think about this in my head. Bryson Tucker, Mackenzie Mbako, Umar Ballo, or put in Malik Renew and Luke Goody, or whatever the case may be. That's what practice is for, and that's what those early non-conference games are for. But the Hoosiers have some flexibility here to see what they want to do with this lineup. But the most important thing right now is people are noticing and understanding what the Hoosiers have done this offseason. In the power rankings, the Hoosiers are ranked number 2. I'll run through the rest of these really quickly. Purdue, right behind us at 3, has Oregon at 4. So how about that? 2 of the newcomers in the top 4 of the power rankings in the Big Ten. Michigan at 5, and I absolutely agree with this, man. Watch out for the Wolverines. They were terrible last year, one of the worst, if not the worst teams in the Big Ten a year ago. That is no longer the case. Dusty May is a hell of a coach. He's going to be really, really good there, and he reloaded in the transfer portal. He is going to be very good at Michigan. Illinois at 6, Rutgers at 7. They've got a lot of talent there. They're young, but they're going to be raw, and they're going to be good. Are Rutgers at 7. Maryland at 8. We know that too. There's some very familiar names there. We've said this before. Jacoby Gillespie, Julian Reese, Derek Queen. They've got some names on there in that roster. Nebraska 9, Ohio State 10, Michigan State at 11, Iowa at 12, Wisconsin 13, then Washington at 14, USC at 15, Penn State at 16, Northwestern 17, and Minnesota down at the bottom at 18. It's going to be a wild year in the Big Ten, man. I don't know who's going to win it. I think the Hoosiers are right up there. I think especially when you start comparing rosters, we have one of the best in the entire Big Ten. That has to be taken advantage of this season. Power rankings wise, Hoosiers are top 2. Can they get it done this season in the Big Ten? Big 18, I guess we'll find out. And that takes us into our next conversation coming up in the next segment. With this new look Big Ten conference with 18 teams, long term, we can talk this season and then we can truly talk long term. Does that help or hurt Indiana basketball in the future of this program? We'll have that conversation coming up next on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Yahoo Finance. Wouldn't it be great if you could see all of your investment and retirement accounts in one place? With Yahoo Finance, you can consolidate your views from multiple accounts into one hub and access the expert analysis you need to change your entire portfolio with confidence. I've done that with my retirement account that I set up coming out of high school and the ones that I have now, my 401k through my job. I've taken everything and put it into one, and my small investments on the side, I've put it all into one using Yahoo Finance. I learned about it here through Locked On, and it's been fantastic. For somebody like me who's younger, it just makes it easy to see and control. And I look at it almost like my social media just about every single day. When it comes to your financial future, you think you've done it all. You've saved, you've researched, you've invested all that you can. Now you need to take those investments to the next level by using what every financial great uses, Yahoo Finance. Because for more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. With a community of over 90 million users each month, their real strength is helping you on your way to financial success. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, Yahoo Finance. The number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. Final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Again, appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being in every day or making this your first listen, adding it to your rotation each and every day. We were talking power rankings in the Big Ten in this new look Big Ten that is the Big 18. It hasn't been 10 in a long time, but now it's the Big 18 with the addition of Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA. And I started thinking about this question. I wanted to have a little fun here at the end of the show today. Does this benefit or hurt the Indiana Hoosiers this upcoming season for 24-25 and then in the future for the next, decade? But it's going to change before that. But you see what I'm saying here. This season, I think it's okay. I don't think it hurts the Hoosiers this year. Now, UCLA is going to be very good. Oregon is supposed to be good according to these power rankings. And I'll be honest, I don't remember, and I got to learn a lot more about this Oregon team. But here's their roster and their starting lineup. Jackson Shelstad, TJ Bamba, know him, Brandon Angel, Kwame Evans, and Nate Biddle. So, look, it's a team that we're going to have to learn a little bit more about. And they lost a couple of guys that they were hoping to get back, it seems like. But overall, 2 of the 4 new additions are going to be big-time players this season in the conference. But Indiana is going to be better than them, I think. I think our rosters are better. I think we have a chance to beat those teams this season. And you're not really worried about USC right now. I think long-term they're going to be good because Eric Musselman is good. Shit, look at what he did at Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas was unbelievable with him, with Eric Musselman at the helm. I mean, it was unbelievable what he did with a basketball team that had not been relevant for a long time. And he went in and made Arkansas national championship contenders. They were making runs in the NCAA tournament, Sweet 16s and Elite 8s. That didn't happen for a long time there in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And you're telling me that he can't get that done in Southern California? I just don't think that's the case. I think he's going to be really good. So this season, not so much. Washington, not overly worried about it. But it is harder to win the Big Ten now. It's harder to win the regular season title, and it's harder to win the conference title. And we've had the discussions before, and you can leave this up to your own interpretation of whether all of those really matter or not. Does the regular season Big Ten title mean a whole lot anymore? I don't know. You tell me. I don't think so. I don't think it means anything because you have it, but you don't get anything for it. You don't get any help and boost because of it. It's all about the conference tournament. It's about that conference tournament and whether you make it to the big dance or not. Now, if you win and you win a lot of games, you're going to make the NCAA tournament. Sure. And then at that point, there's the then debate of, well, does the conference tournament really matter? Hopefully this year for a team like Indiana, it doesn't because we're going to be in the NCAA tournament. We'll be a big time seed, one of the top seeds, and does it really matter? But for those middle of the pack teams that are on the bubble of the NCAA tournament, yeah, the Big Ten tournament means a ton. And I'm sure Indiana will be there at some point. Look at the Hoosiers last year. The Big Ten tournament meant a ton. But where I'm getting at is it's harder to win now than ever before. There's more teams. There's 4 more teams now in the conference, which means I think you're going to see the regular season schedule change up a little bit in terms of the number of games that we play and then trying to win those games in the regular season plus make a run in the Big Ten tournament. Like this season, I think the Hoosiers are fine. I don't think it's going to impact us all that much. But in the future, yeah, that's a bad thing. It's a bad thing that the conference is expanding in terms of the Hoosiers winning and being successful. But every team can make that argument, and not just in the Big Ten. Look at what the SEC is doing. They're continuing to poach teams from the Big 12, probably from the ACC. And we all know where we're headed. We're headed to 2 major super conferences. And that conversation tends to take place with the college football side of things. But here in college basketball, it's going to affect us a lot too. And what I fear is that the NCAA tournament is going to change. They're already talking about making it bigger, trying to put 124, 128, 136 teams in the NCAA tournament, which I think is ridiculous, but they don't ask me my opinion, unfortunately. I'm just saying it's all changing a lot. And I think it's going to make it even harder to win games, to win championships, and to win national championships. And that's what everybody's striving to do. That's what Mike Woodson in the Indiana Hoosiers, that's what we want. We want to win championships. That's what we demand here in Bloomington. But man, it's getting harder by the day. But I guess the good news is it's harder for everybody. And that's why guys like Braylon Mullins, in terms of high school recruiting, those wins mean even more when you get them, because everybody's getting the money and the resources to go after them, because everybody's investing to go after championships. This isn't just the 5 or 6 biggest teams in the sport that just run everything for 20 years like it's been for a long time. That's not the case. We just talked about Oregon basketball being a legit contender in this conference. Like, that's where we are nowadays. Everybody's good. Everybody wants to be good. And everybody's doing what it takes to be good. The Indiana Hoosiers have to adjust to that. Whether it's in the Big Ten Conference, whether it's a bigger Big Ten Conference or anything, you've just got to be ready. And you've got to invest everything you can and have the right guys available to win and win at the highest levels. And I think the Big Ten is still going to expand. I don't think they're done. I think they're going to continue to get more teams. Look, I'm fine with the expansion in terms of it's cool. Like it's cool. I'm excited to play USC and UCLA. I'm excited to see Oregon and Washington. But in terms of trying to win and win at the biggest stage, yeah, it's going to make it a heck of a lot harder for Indiana moving forward to do all of those things in the future. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Again, I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. If you're on YouTube, like the video, comment down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It takes one tap. Just click on the subscribe button. You'll become a part of the channel. You can go to the channel, hit subscribe, and you're here forever as a member. So thank you so much for that. If you're on audio, follow us there. Turn on notifications. That way you never miss a new episode of Locked On Hoosiers. We'll be back tomorrow, Hoosier fans. So until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.